If the power outage is prolonged, not just in the Moscow region, but in Moscow, then unrest could arise. But it's unlikely. Russian opposition figure Gennady Gudkov suggested Russia's loss in the war would be a different matter. Russians will not forgive Putin for that and will definitely take to the streets. It's unlikely they'll come out. If there's complete chaos there and it drags on for weeks without any sensible explanation for when warmth and light will return, then sure, but overall, no. The people are dispersed, suppressed, deprived of any leadership, deprived of the opportunity to unite. Even social media is suppressed so that people can't communicate with each other without the control of the security services, he said. Gudkov named an event that would most likely provoke mass riots in Russia. Right now, people can only come out in the event of defeat indeed. What? You lost the war and now you're going to tell us what to do? The reaction will be different here, and the fact that there's no power won't get people out on the streets. Let's put it this way. The Moscow region isn't Moscow. The Moscow region can be different. Lyubertsy or Mytishchi are practically Moscow, and some place like Shatura won't provoke a reaction. They'll react like, no big deal, let them sit there without power. The war in Ukraine won't end right now because neither Ukraine nor Europe will agree to the peace plan proposed by the US, Gennady Gudkov stated. The Russian opposition politician then made his prediction for the future, noting that the world is on the brink of an abyss beyond which a global war with nuclear weapons will most likely await. In his previous prediction, the former State Duma deputy stated that Trump would seek opportunities to put the final pressure on Ukraine and that it would be Zelensky, not Putin, who would be arm-twisting because it is easier to pressure the Ukrainian president. A Russian opposition figure predicted the events we're on the brink of. Now we can make another prediction. It will all end very badly. That's the first prediction. And it will end with an increase in the scale and number of local conflicts around the world. There will be a conflict in South America. That's clear now. There will be a continued rise of dictatorships in Africa. It's absolutely clear that the situation in the Middle East will escalate, where we'll see an inevitable war between Iran and its terrorist army against Israel, with the possibility of both sides using the most modern weapons, including, I'm hinting at, nuclear weapons. Of course, a conflict will break out in Taiwan. Of course, it's Taiwan, no question about it. This will inevitably end in the use of nuclear weapons. We can't yet say the scale of this use, but in my view, the probability that this will end in the use of nuclear weapons in the global context is higher than 50%, much higher than 50%. Gudkov added, the war will certainly continue. Europe won't accept this plan, and Ukraine certainly won't accept it in this form. This means the war will continue into 2026 at the very least. Maybe not for a full year, but it's absolutely clear that the war will continue into 2026, the former State Duma deputy predicted.
Social media platforms must report monthly how many children's accounts they close once Australia begins enforcing its 16-year age limit next week, a minister said Wednesday. According to Associated Press, Facebook, Instagram, Kik, Reddit, Snapchat, Threads, TikTok, X and YouTube would face fines of up to $50 million Australian dollars from December 10 if they fail to take reasonable steps to remove accounts of Australian children younger than 16. Live streaming service Twitch was added to the list of age-restricted platforms less than 2 weeks ago. The Australian e-Safety Commissioner will send the 10 platforms notices on December 11 demanding information about the numbers of accounts removed. Monthly notices would follow for 6 months. The government recognizes that age assurance may require several days or weeks to complete fairly and accurately, Communications Minister Anika Wells told the National Press Club of Australia. However, if e-safety identifies systemic breaches of the law, The platforms will face fines, she added. The e-safety regulator said a court would apply the penalty up to the maximum if the platform had repeated violations. Google said Wednesday that anyone in Australia under 16 would be signed out of its platform YouTube from December 10 and lose features accessible only to account holders such as playlists. Google would determine YouTube account holders' ages based on personal data contained in associated Google accounts and other signals. We have consistently said this rushed legislation misunderstands our platform, the way young Australians use it and, most importantly, it does not fulfill its promise to make kids safer online, a Google statement said. Meta, which owns Facebook, Instagram and Threads, said suspected young children will be removed from those platforms from Thursday. Account holders 16 and older who were mistakenly removed could contact Yoti age verification and verify their age by providing government-issued IDs or a video selfie, Meta said.
We know many kids don't tell their parents about seeing harmful content on social media. In 1 week, Australia will become the first country in the world to ban under 16s from having social media accounts. With one law, we can protect Generation Alpha from being sucked into purgatory by predatory algorithms described by the man who created the feature as behavioural cocaine. Through one reform, more kids will have their time back to learn an instrument or a language or walk their dog or master a torpedo punt or the perfect lob pass. Government to step up. They know and we know that this will not be perfect. But teenage addiction was not a bug, it was a design feature. And on 10 December, there are going to be withdrawal symptoms. Teenagers will be upset. Some will fight to get back on, some will manage to find their way around the tech and keep their accounts. But I truly believe the short-term discomfort will be worth the long-term benefits. Killing the cat on previously secret strategies by social media giants. Information gathering and enforcement powers lay with the E-Safety Commission. But what you can expect on 11 December is that eSafety will send notices to the 10 platforms we have named in our dynamic list. These notices will seek evidence, including how many underage accounts they had on 9 December before the law started, and on 11 December after the law started. Those platforms will have time to reply before the next round of information requests are sent out, asking for updated numbers every month for 6 months. The government recognises that age assurance may require several days or weeks to complete fairly and accurately. However, if eSafety identifies systemic breaches of the law, the platforms will face fines of up to $49.5 million. Regulation and cultural change take time, take patience. This law is world-leading, and countries around the world are taking our lead. Because we spend 2 seconds longer than usual on a video.